Hello and welcome to VistaTalks, interesting discussions with interesting people from all around the world. I'm your host for today, Priscillia Charles, and I'm joining today in Studio 2 and delighted by Aoife Murphy. Aoife is a major accounts director at Vistatec. You're very welcome today.
Thanks very much, Priscillia. Great to be here.
Thanks for being on the show. So now let's move on and get on to the show. Aoife, can you share with our audience, who I'm sure is very curious, a little bit about your background and maybe some of the areas that you're currently involved in?
Sure. Well, as you've just mentioned there, I'm Major Accounts Director here at Vistatec. I've been at Vistatec for 5 years now, and I was just crunching some numbers there, and apparently I've been in the localization industry for 24 years at this stage. Indeed. So starting out in the areas of project management, program management, and account management up to my current role here at Vistatec.
Great.
And also as part of what I do at Vistatec, I'm involved with Vistatec's thought leadership forum called the Think Global Forum.
Mm-hmm.
That is a thought leadership forum for client-side contacts of ours. We have events in person normally in normal times,
yes.
Where we gather a crowd of people for some keynote presentations, and then we have a behind closed doors boardroom session also for some of our forum executives. So I'm the managing director of Europe for the Think Global Forum, and we have events throughout Europe. We also have a lot of events in the US as well. So we've been doing this for a couple of years, and it's been very successful so far.
Absolutely, it's been fantastic to attend some of those Think Global forums, and we look forward to attending some more in the future in person, hopefully very soon.
Indeed.
Thank you so much, Aoife. So I'd like to talk about to move on to the current situation. So as you mentioned, with what's going on at the moment, we can't obviously meet in person, but hopefully so very soon. So how is the current situation impacting you? On the business side of things, on the way in which you are doing business on a day-to-day basis?
Sure. Well, I guess like everybody else, I'm working from home. So that works out quite well in the kind of position that I have, and I've always done a little bit of that. And Vistatec have been very flexible to allow a blend of working from home and working from the office. And indeed, everybody in Vistatec is now working from home, and that was quite a seamless transition and very well supported by everybody at Vistatec, from the HR guys to the marketing guys, to make sure that we are all settled in working from home from an infrastructure point of view, but also from a social point of view, which is great. We have different virtual coffee sessions, and we're now having a call to the wild session over the next coming weeks. So some very interesting ways of keeping everybody in touch here at Vistatec. And more then on the day-to-day on my side of things. So I guess a lot of what I do is online anyway, but I guess what I'm not able to do now is meet and greet people like I usually do from meeting people in person. So you're relying a lot on Skype for Business and video calls, etc. And also with the Think Global Forum sessions, we've recently started to bring those online as well. So now we've been doing video call virtual sessions for the Think Global Forum, and they've been really successful, and our forum executives get the opportunity to meet again in a virtual setting and share some of their thoughts on what's happening now and how the future looks, etc. And we have an upcoming event this week as well. Our US colleagues are hosting a Think Global Forum technology session, so that looks to be a great session as well. So, we're getting through, and we're keeping on going, business as usual. And it will be nice to when we get back to normality. But for now, we're as busy as we always have been. So that's good. So. I know some businesses are struggling more than others, but I'm delighted to say that things are going business as usual for me, and I think for my colleagues also.
Yeah, it's been really good. We've been very lucky in that sense, and the online, as you say, online tools are very important. The online presence, if I may say, is very important for most businesses. So we hear a lot about digital transformation at the moment, and the importance, how important it is for many businesses to keep up to date and to maintain an online presence and to adapt, to the current situation for their clients, for their audience. So I'd like to talk a little bit more about digital transformation with you. How would you define a digital transformation approach, and why would you say it has become more essential for business to undertake such a transition? Because some of them haven't met, there's different criteria to take into consideration, of course, and not everybody necessarily has met this transition. So some of them haven't met business, cultural, or customer, or even technology-oriented requirements. What is your view on this?
Sure. Well, I guess a digital transformation is quite a large topic and it's all encompassing in an organization. And I guess the way in which it impacts on what I'm doing as a localization professional and what I see our customers doing, I think the way that the part that impacts on us most is the customer experience.
Absolutely.
So, this means developing business processes backed up with technology, etc., to capture data at every step of the customer journey. So we're seeing this working to, a greater or lesser extent with the different customers out there. And in my world, I kind of define it into three separate types of companies that are out there now. So you have your digital natives. So you have your companies that have grown up online. They've always been online, and digital transformation or digital is just how they exist, really. So looking at the current times just now, they're probably doing okay because they've always been online. They've always been digital. So it hasn't been as much of a leap for them during this time in lockdown. That said, there are some digital native type companies that aren't doing so well. So obviously the travel industry for obvious reasons. But other than that, I mean, some companies are doing well, some companies aren't. But if they're digital native, they've been online anyway. So, there probably isn't as big a gap, let's just say, between the before and now. And then you have your digital pioneers. And I would typically define them as IT type customers, perhaps those that would have B2B type relationships. And historically, maybe they might have done a lot of business at trade shows, and they've done them at conferences and seminars, and done all of their networking and a lot of their selling and a lot of their marketing oriented activities have been towards that type of thing, in addition to the online digital side of things. So they probably had a little bit of work to do, a little bit of running around to try and regroup and transform the way in which they do business to a more virtual, more online, if not forever, at least in the short term, with a view to the future as well of continuing to do so. And then you have what I'm calling digital explorers. So these would be more kind of traditional businesses, perhaps 50 years old plus. They started to exist pre-digital, pre-online, pre-virtual. So you have a lot of retail brands like that, a lot of big retail brands, or a lot of brick and mortar stores, or manufacturing companies indeed. So some of them have further to go than others to bridge the digital transformation gap. It may have been something that was on their radar, digital transformation, letting most things happen digitally, including their internal workforces. But some of them are handling it better than others. Some of them have done really well. They've got ahead of the digital transformation side of things. So this total virtual world is straightforward for them to deal with. Other companies, not so much. I've seen some heavy manufacturing companies are starting to sell online, and that's pretty amazing to be able to do that at this stage during these times. So there will be winners, there will be losers in the current setup, and a lot of it will depend on how far along they are on their digital transformation journey. And that again does include and again, from my perspective, it's all about the customer experience and how they're working with the customer experience to make it more digital.
Yes, absolutely. And I suppose we will see, as you mentioned, winners and losers, as you said, and some people, the way that I suppose this current, like what's happened in the past few months and what will happen in the next few months will definitely show the importance of a presence online and also the post-COVID-19 society, really, if I may say, for businesses that have taken such approach. Some people who would have started or people who would have not done anything really. So how do you see this, post-COVID-19 society, if I may say, and for some people it is totally new, and for some people it is not something new. Those people are digital natives. So do you think there'll be a big difference?
Yes, I do. I think we're now into the phrase that you'll hear a lot of is the new normal. So I think we have a new normal now. I don't think we're going back. Definitely there will be an emphasis on digital first. So it's not digital only, but it will certainly be digital first for all of those companies that were considering it. I think they now know that it's an absolute have to have, not a nice to have, and digital will always be part of the go-to strategy moving forward. So I think companies are in the process of doing that, and I think you'll find that a lot of companies have expedited this digital transformation process as much as possible to stay in business and to get ahead. So for sure, digital first is priority for a lot of companies, and that will far extend out after this current crisis.
That hopefully will end very soon.
Indeed, absolutely.
will open, yes, those doors for new types of businesses, a new way of doing business, really, in general. So that's the end of today's show with Aoife Murphy, Major Accounts Director at Vistatec. Thank you again so much, Aoife, for taking the time to come on the show. It's always really interesting to hear about insights of an expert, really, localization expert like you, who's been in the business for, I believe, over 20 years. So thank you again so much, and we look forward to having you on the show very soon.
That's great, Priscillia. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much. So please make sure to tune in again to see or listen to the next VistaTalks show, where we'll be discussing more interesting discussions with interesting people from all around the world.